learnt about some bootstrap components. So have you tried them? Right, the bootstrap components, what I showed you. So we learnt about alerts, and we learnt about badge and model and cards. These are the three. So every bootstrap component doesn't require any effects. Means all bootstrap components don't have effects. Some are defined only with styles. You can define only styles. Now some more important components we will see here. Actually, alerts, badges, model. In this, alert is having some functionality. You can close alerts. Model is having a functionality. You can pop up and use them. Have you tried them? Because these we will completely use in our JavaScript everywhere. If you don't try this, you can't handle our JavaScript anymore. If you don't practice our bootstrap, what we learn in class, you can't handle the JavaScript in future. Why? Because all examples in JavaScript, we are going to work with bootstrap combination. Then you will feel difficulty. So you practice these bootstrap components well. Otherwise, you can't manage JavaScript, right? Because majority examples I show on JavaScript will be integrated with bootstrap. Because user interface, functionality, everything we write. So that's the reason you should practice and make sure that you perfectly handle them, right? So now today we will see some more components, how to handle them and work with them. So what are the components here is? Now we will see how we can work with carousel. Today we will see carousels, how we can work. So carousels are nothing but usually what is the concept of carousel is? Generally carousel is used for creating sliding and scrolling banners, right? You can create sliding and scrolling content in page using carousel. So we can create sliding and scrolling content in page using carousel. Actually, there are so many levels of carousel. We will see one by one how to manage. So many levels of carousel means a lot of options are present. We have to learn all of them. One by one, we will see how to manage. So first, basic carousel we will see. Basic carousel, how to design and what are the classes. Basic carousel classes. So we have carousel and we have carousel inner and we have carousel item. We have a carousel, carousel inner and carousel item. So these are the basic carousel related classes. These three are enough, but functionality also important. We will give the functionality. First, these are the carousel basic classes. That means actually I will copy the code. Let's add a new file, carousel HTML, and let put some data here. And these bootstrap files are common. That means the bootstrap CSS, bootstrap JavaScript, jQuery bundles all are same. Now, how do we design these carousel classes is actually, let's copy some images that we have. From Amazon like site, we can take that. Right. So from this Amazon like page, you can capture some slides. Our intention is to design like this, sliding banners and all. Then let's take some slides. So here in the Amazon shopping, I will take a new image here. Let's capture that image. Yeah, this part I'm selecting. And when you are selecting, make sure that all are having same height and width. Otherwise, it looks abnormal. When you are designing, ones will go up, down, they will slide like that. This is one image. I will save this image. In the project folder, you can save such slides. Yeah, let's save this in our project folder is same, right? This is a different one. In the Flipkart, in that public images, I'm adding this folder, this image. Let's say slide 1 .jpg. Okay. Now let's take another slide and capture this. I'm taking another slide. Let's copy this slide also. I'm adding this slide. Okay. And this slide also I will give as slide 2. Slide 2.jpg. And one more, let's take, a new and some slide 3. Like this, I'm adding 3 slides here. So let's copy these 3 slides. Save. Now, these 3 slides, we want to display slide 3. Yeah, we want to display in the page. Like a carousel, we want to display them. Let's see how it can happen. First, let's go to the design. In this, we want to put a carousel. Actually, carousel is nothing but a div. In a division, we will apply a class called carousel. And in a page, there can be several carousels. That's the reason every carousel must have an ID. I say some top banner. Okay. Inside the carousel, we have to create a container. This container will be carousel inner. Carousel inner. We have to use a carousel inner. So that is carousel inner. And inside the carousel inner, you will have items. So I will keep a div. This is called as carousel item. We have a carousel item. And how many items? 3. I will copy item 1, 2, and 3. And the first item will have an image. And the image source, it is from public images. And we have slide1.jpg. I will keep class as W100 D block. That means display block width 100. Display block because it will not allow anything else inside. I mean beside. Any paragraph you add, it will be below. Okay. Similarly, I'm adding another image. This is slide 2. And we are adding another image. That is slide 3. You can have anything. It's not necessary that it must be only images. You can keep text. You can keep forms. You can design anyway. Okay, these are the carousel items. But when you run this, and I refresh here, you can't see anything. Why? Because the first basic thing you should know is in the syntax, we created a carousel and we created a carousel inner, carousel and carousel inner, carousel inner, and inside this we have a carousel item. That is the order you have to place in this order. The item close and the inner close and the carousel close. That's the order. So here, first important thing you should know is, so when you are configuring the carousels, the basic point you should know is carousel so will not start with any item by default. Carousel will not start with any item by default. So you have to set any one carousel item as active. We have to set as active. That's important. You have carousels, but the carousels will not start. You can't see anything on the screen because one item in carousel must be set to active. When it is active, then only it will start. Any one item you need to set it active. So what you have to do is you have to set a active class. So wherever you have this carousel related item class here. So we have a class called carousel item. This must have active class. That's important. One carousel item must be active. You have to put that active. Otherwise it cannot work. One carousel item must be active. You need to keep that active. This is important. That's the reason you see currently the screen is empty. You can see there is nothing on the screen because no item is active. Let's go and make the first item as active. First or second or any item you have to keep active. You need an active class for that. And you see now one item is there. That is one carousel item. After keeping the items, one item must be active. That is the first basic rule. And now item is active, but animation is not happening. By default, animation also will not happen. Animation also will not happen. It is not changing. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah. So animation requires this data BS, right, to define. Animation is not working, and to make the animation work, you have to use data BS, right? So where to write this actually? You have to configure this for carousel. That means we have div. We have a class called carousel. For this carousel, you have to set data BS ride, and carousel have to ride. That means it should start the animation. That is mandatory. So once you define the animation, then it will start animation. By default, animation will not start. You need to set up the animation by using this. So what you have to do is, so you see the same image is present always. We need to set that here. We need to configure that. Let's see, go here. And we need to add an attribute data BS ride. Data BS ride carousel. You have to set that carousel. And once you set the carousel data BS right, and now you can see the images will be changing. Images will be changing. But images are changing, but there is no smooth animation. No, yeah. Images are changing here, but animation is not smooth. So what is the animation not smooth means? Actually, you can see that it is like one image flickers and another image comes. It should be like continuous, one after another. That is because for that you have another concept here. After you set the animation to start, once the animation started, next important is carousel animation requires two different animation styles. Requires two different animation styles. You can choose any one of the both styles. There are two different animation styles. You can choose any one of the both styles. So we have one is slide and we have carousel fade. We have side and carousel fade. Two types of animation effects are present. So if you give this, then it will have a little better animation style, a little better display style will be there. So where to apply that? This you have to apply to the same. We have a div carousel class carousel, and here we have to keep slide. We can add like that, or we can keep class. We have carousel fade. You can write these two. Out of these two, anyone. Carousel have a fading effect. Carousel have a slide effect. Without this, animation doesn't look smooth. It looks normal. Animation is not smooth. So you see here, now I am defining the carousel. Yeah. You saw the animation already. Animation already is like blinking and displaying. Let's put the correct animation style. We will go to carousel and we will put slide. When I put slide, and you can see now the animation looks little smoother now. That means it is not like flickering. It is not like blinking. One after another images will come. That is the correct animation for carousel. And you can use another effect. Sometimes we don't want to slide. Then we can put carousel fade. You can keep carousel type of animation here. This fade type of animation is nothing but the carousels will not slide anymore. They are going to fade like this. That is fading type of animation. It will display like that. That depends. See, it's not like you take lengthy large images. You can take small photos like advertisements and keep them in a corner. They can also have a carousel. Carousel is not just center banner, lengthy photos and all. A small box also can have a carousel with changing advertisements, blinking like that. So these are two animation styles for carousel. We can define either carousel fade or you can define as what? Slide. We can configure the fade and slide like options for carousel. That's how we can define. So this is, I'm giving slide now. It will be sliding, right? This is the first level. So that means this is basic carousel. How do we design a carousel with carousel items and how to start animation and how to keep one carousel item active. These are basic rules, right? Once you know these basic rules, now I will give example up to this part. Let me copy this and paste. This is basic carousel. Now, once you designed a basic carousel, this basic carousel don't have a manual control. It is not having any manual control. That means currently it is showing a slide and it is going to next. I want previous slide. If I want previous slide, there is nothing. Then if you want to manually control the carousel, then you can add additional. That means you have carousel controls. You have carousel controls. The first one is a basic carousel without controls. Some websites have like that. That means some websites just show automatic scrolling, sliding, and you don't control them. Just they will be changing automatically. If you want to control, you can add controls. Carousel control, what is the advantage here is carousel controls, they allow to navigate between slides. They allow to navigate between slides. That means you can move to previous or next. You can move to previous or next. These are carousel controls. These are optional. If you want, you can add controls. Otherwise, you can just leave auto. If you want to manually control, then you need these carousel controls. And carousel controls, actually, for that we have class. So these are the classes for that. And what are the classes we have? One is carousel control prev. That is previous. Carousel control previous icon. Carousel control next. And carousel control next icon. We have these options. Carousel controls, control previous, control next. These are the carousel options we are having. Carousel control previous, carousel control next, all these. And here we have to define attributes, also important for that. Attributes you need for these controls, you need data BS slide, data BS slide. You can slide next, and data BS slide previous. You have these two attributes for next and previous. So these controls are added to your carousel if user wants navigation, right? Let's see how. So let's go to the carousel now. In the carousel, after the carousel inner is completed, that means after all the items are finished, below that inner, make sure that you are inside the carousel only, because here carousel ends and here carousel inner ends. I will put a comment for you. Carousel inner ends here. Okay. Here we are adding a button. And this button will have a class carousel control previous. That is previous button. Usually previous button needs a previous icon. Then we will put a span inside the button. We will add a span and we will put a class carousel control previous icon. We are keeping an icon. Similarly, you need a next button. I will copy, and there is a next button, carousel control next, and carousel control next icon. Next icon. We have these two options. Let's see, is there any change in our design? There is some change. You can see the buttons are available. You can see here there is a button. That is the previous button, and this is the next. Actually, depends. If your background is dark, then you can put light controls. Or if your background is light, you can put dark controls. And remember, these will not work. These buttons are not working now. You can see buttons are there. You can apply one theme for carousel. Like in carousel, you can add carousel dark. Carousel dark will keep the buttons little visible, so that they are visible with dark shades, right? But actually this is not going to work. Previous next buttons are not working, right? So to make them work, we have to add attributes. For this button, we have to use data bs slide what? Preview. These are reserved words, keywords. You have to just exactly write that preview, right? And which carousel previous? We have to use data bs target. Target is carousel name. Which carousel? You have to define hash the carousel ID we given as top banner. That means you are telling for which carousel this button should work, because there may be so many carousels in a page and a button can work for any carousel, right? Then you have to tell for which carousel previous it should work. So for top banner carousel, that is the ID we given for carousel, na? Top banner. For the top banner carousel, it should apply this effect. Okay, similarly, next button, data bs slide. Slide what? Next. And data bs target, hash top banner. Okay. Now you can see this is the carousel. And carousel is already having some animation. It is having the animation. And you see, you click this previous button, it will go to previous. It will go to previous. You click on the next button, it will go to next. You can manually slide to the previous or next. If you don't click, automatic timing is working. And if you want, you can click and you can control. That means the previous and the next you can manage. So that is actually carousel controls. For controls, actually you have to define. Another option is we have to add data bs target. It should be carousel ID. Carousel ID it should be. You have to use the carousel ID as target. And usually this is defined for buttons. This is defined for buttons syntactically. You can keep a button, data bs slide previous, and data bs target hash top banner something, and class carousel control preview. In that you can put a span and class carousel control preview icon. You can add that. That is how we design control, like that, next and others. So this is a carousel with controls. I will add one example here. Now this example with both basic and controls. So let me copy this example and this example with both of them. Right. So this is the example with both of them. That means now we have a basic carousel and we have with controls. Two examples I showed you. We have problem with these controls also. What is the problem with controls? The problem with controls is you cannot navigate to any slide directly if you want. That means first to second, second to third. Directly from first, I need to skip to third or 10th or 11th because sometimes you have a lot of carousel slides and user can navigate only previous or next. But you can make user to go directly to which control he wants. Those are called as, if you want to design like that, that is called as carousel indicators. You have carousel indicators, you have carousel controls, you have carousel indicators. What is the advantage of indicators is, so indicators allow to navigate to any specific slide directly. They will allow to navigate to any specific slide directly. You can navigate to any specific slide directly. And what are the classes you have to define for that? Actually, you have only one classes you have to define. Carousel controls. You have to use carousel controls. You have to define carousel controls. And you have to use active class also, compulsory. Carousel controls and active. Actually, carousel controls, it is defined container. It is defined for container that have indicators. So it is defined for container that have indicators. Carousel indicators. And attributes, what are the attributes extra you need is, you need data BS slide 2. Slide 2 index number. Index number starts with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3 like that you can define. Data BS slide to 0, slide to 1, slide to 2 like that. You have to define the index number. So that is how we can manage. These are the classes and attributes. Of course, you have to use data BS target, that is common. So that is carousel ID. Carousel ID you have to define. So we can create such sliding banners by using carousel. These indicators are used for handling navigation to any specific slide directly. That means, let's see here. So after these buttons, okay, these buttons I will keep, this is carousel What are these controls? Okay. And here HTML comments are defined in a exclamation and hyphen. Here we are adding carousel and what? Indicators. Okay. Let's add a container div. In this div, we will put a class carousel container indicators. That's it. Now in this, how many slides are there? Those number of buttons you have to keep. That means we have one button, you have another button, 2 and 3. Because 3 indicators are there, 3 buttons. Generally designers have different design ideas. You can follow anything. Standard is this. Sometimes what people do, they create a unordered list, UL. For that unordered list, will give carousel indicators class. In that, instead of buttons, they use LI. Unordered list have LI. 3 indicators. It will work. So you can click on those LI and you can navigate. You can put anything. Remember, click is not only for a button. Even a div can be clicked. Image can be clicked. Span also can be clicked. Right? It's not restriction that button only works with click. Any element in the page can be clicked. Right? So that's the reason sometimes you may see people using unordered lists or some other elements for clicking them. As of now, as standard, I written this. You see automatically indicators came. You see the indicators at the bottom here. We have 3 indicators there. 1, 2, 3 indicators are there. So how many slides you have, you use them. But still they don't have any look and they don't have any functionality. They will get that once you define the style. That means for these buttons, we have to apply the class, not how to apply data BS slide to 0. That is the first one. Data BS target. Target is hash top banner. These 2 are compulsory for every button. Slide to this, slide to 1, and this one slide to 2. Index number starts with 0, 1, 2. That's it. And one more option is there. Make sure that one carousel indicator is active. Compulsory, that is. That means what you do for one button, we will put class as what? Active. Now you can see that carousel indicator buttons appearance is different now. You can see at the bottom, carousel buttons appearance is different. And I click on the first button, first slide will come. Last button, last slide will come. Middle button, it will get that. I can navigate to any particular slide directly. You see it is shifting up and down. That is because I have uneven size of images. If you have all images correct height, then it will be good, right? Because when I cut those images, one image may be less height, another image more height. You can set up with standard. Suppose you say, let's say here, style, I am just giving style. And in the style, I am giving an image and the height of image, some 300 pixel. That means all images have a standard height now. When image have a standard height, then you can see that now there is no problem in that particular controls. They don't move up and down. They are stable now. Because you give a common height for them, that is good. Right? That means now you have previous buttons and next button working. You have indicators also working. You see some websites, they give a round circle there instead of button. That depends, right? For example, suppose here For this button, actually button is not good because button is having some class here. For example, I given as rounded circle like classes for the button. That means you see it is having slight rounded. You can have height, width adjusted for those buttons, then it will display. That means usually buttons need certain height and width, but here lot of buttons are there, all will affect. I will use what? Carousel indicators in that wherever button is there. So we give height of button as some 20 pixel. So width of button is suppose 20 pixel. Like this width and height of the buttons are adjusted. And you can see very small effect will be there. A small rounded will come. You can see the small rounded appearance will be there for this. It's not necessary that you have to use a button only. What you can do, suppose instead of button, I told you now, we can use list items, we can use images, right? You can use images also. Small image you can keep clickable. That depends. Different people have different design things. Anything is okay. You can add, right? Usually this is another option for carousel indicators. This is example for carousel indicators. Okay. Now one more option is there. Carousel with controls and carousel with indicators. Another option is carousel have timings. You saw every slide is changing after few seconds. How many seconds that you can control? That means here important note, you can control the slide timing by using the attribute data BS interval. You can use the attribute data BS interval. This data BS interval is nothing but it is time interval. So you can set the time interval how many milliseconds. Actually it is defined in milliseconds, and this is defined for carousel item. For carousel item we give data BS interval is equal to some 4000 milliseconds. 4000 milliseconds is equal to 4 seconds. That means 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second. So you can set timing also for the slides, how much time they should display on screen. Sometimes some slides can keep less priority and they will slide fast. We can keep more priority. That is done by using this. The priorities you can configure and define. Actually, you see now here, this is the slide. All slides have similar timing. They are changing every few seconds automatically. Now what I will do is here, let's go to the first item. And for this item, data BS interval is equal to some 3000 millisecond. Second item, data BS interval 1000 millisecond. And data BS interval, this is 5000 millisecond, something. Now you see here, this is the first slide. Second slide is very fast. Why? Because I given only 1 second. First slide few. Second is very fast because only 1 second I given. And last slide stays long. You can see second is very fast and last will stay long because we given more seconds to stay. First one is 3, and second one is 1, and third one is 5. That depends how you control the time, right? You can set the timings for those slides. You can configure them. This is basically done by using carousel. This is another final example with all the options carousel is having. That means basic carousel, carousel with controls, carousel with indicators, carousel with timings. Everything is added into this now, right? So this is a simple concept of working with carousels, sliding and scrolling banners. You can create them, right? Next, important. I hope you understood. Right. So you need to practice that. So now next, important, you have very popularly used collapse. We have a collapse. Actually, collapse, it is used to show or hide any element in page dynamically. The popularly used components I am showing you, they are used for showing and hiding dynamically. So you have the class. So classes we are having just one collapse is there. Collapse is the class. We have show is another one. These are just two classes we are having. Collapse and show. So attributes are same. Usually they work with the attributes data BS target, data BS toggle. These are common attributes used. So we can show and hide the content dynamically using that. Actually, when you see the websites like some websites like suppose you are having some Netflix like page. So when you are having Netflix like page, in that some FAQs are present. The questions about Netflix are present somewhere bottom here. Yeah. And when we scroll this, you can see here some FAQs are present, frequently asked questions. And I click on this, it will show some information about that. What is Netflix? That means you click, it will show, and again click, it will hide. That is collapse actually. Collapse is just show and hide dynamically any content. That's collapse. But actually Netflix is not using collapse directly. They are using something else, which you will see. I will copy this now. Let's add another file. I will give the file name collapse.html. Okay. In this basic classes are same. Let me copy that. And whatever is there, carousel, I will add that here. Basic classes are same. Only the point is the carousel classes. Yeah. Now here, I'm just adding a simple heading as FAQs. Heading 1, frequently asked questions. Okay. Let's keep the class as text center. It will be center. And below that, I will add a container. In this container, we will add a button. And in this button, we will put the question, what is Netflix? And below the button, we will add another container. where we can copy that paragraph they have. Let's copy the paragraph. So those two paragraphs I'm copying, and let's put here, paste. I'm adding those two paragraphs of information. This is one paragraph. This is another paragraph. Okay, we have two paragraphs of information there. Now let's access this and see here. I'm accessing that collapse. It's not carousel here. HTML, yeah. Now in this we are having just like this. That's the basic design we are having. Now what we need is we want that collapsible, expandable. Just we can add some additional effects here. So this button will have a class, as the class will be btn dark and w100. And for this we will have a class bg dark and text white and margin top 1. And you can see now this is the content we are having. And for this padding also I will give 2. Okay, that is enough. Now what we want here is when user clicks this button, what is Netflix, it should hide. Again click, it should display. We have to show and hide the content. It's very simple now. For this div which contains those answers, we have to apply a class called collapse. If I add the collapse class, now you can see it is hidden. It is not there. And it have an ID. ID as suppose Q1. That is the question. If you want to keep it open, then you have to use show. If you put show, then it will be kept open. It will display open. If you don't want to keep it open, then you can remove that show. Then by default, it is collapse. Now on this button click, we should control it. You have data BS toggle. Toggle, which component to toggle? Collapse. Collapse is the component to toggle, and data BS target. What is the ID of that collapse? ID of the collapse is Q1, question 1. Right now you can see when I do that and I click on this, it will open it. Again click, it will hide. We are just showing and hiding the content. That is a simple collapse. So anywhere you want to show or hide the content on toggle, just we can add a collapse, right? It just requires only 2 classes, collapse and show, right? So syntactically you define in this way. Data BS toggle. Toggle is collapse. Data BS target. Target is hash Q1. So some text here we are having. And div will have a class called collapse with ID as Q1. That's it. So here your content. You can keep your content in that. That is collapse. But actually Netflix is not using collapse. How we can say that it is not using collapse? Because they are using a different combination act. I will show you. So this example, let me post this example. Yeah. So this is an example for that. That is an example for collapse, how you can manage. But why I am saying that Netflix is not using collapse, because you observe, then you will understand. In the Netflix page, so this is the first question. And you click once, it will hide. Again, click, it will show. I clicked on second question. If I clicked on second question, if it is collapse, what will happen is second question also will open. But when I click on second question, first one will automatically collapse. This is not collapse. This is called accordion. We call this as accordion. Accordion uses mutex mechanism. I told you mutual exclusion. That means one open, another will close. That is not collapse. It's a combination of collapse with a concept called accordion. We call this accordion. These kind of accordions are very popular. And Netflix is not using Bootstrap. That's the reason you have doubt like, how do I get plus and cross marks? Because they will automatically come, but depends on which third party you are using. Netflix is not using this Bootstrap because Netflix is designed using React.js technology. Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, all these are using React.js in the front end. And usually React.js uses a library called React.js, like technology uses a library called MUI. They use a concept called MUI. MUI is a material UI. So this material UI is used by Amazon, Netflix, Instagram. So which are built using React, they use it. Is it opening? Yeah. And that is the reason even their fonts, colors have different variation. So how to design that accordion? I will show you now how we can design that accordion. We can create that accordion, but we cannot get the look and feel of Netflix because their accordion is using a different font and style borrowed from another third party. It is not from Bootstrap, right? It is opening. Let's open. You see, this is actually user interface. This is an user interface. And this is same like Bootstrap. You see Netflix, NASA, Amazon, Spotify, these people are using this. That means those are all the people using it. And you know, those are high, very professional players of web and all, right? Amazon is using same, Netflix is using same, even NASA apps are using that. So Spotify, you know. So that means you will have such type of functionality, but you will not have such type of look and feel for your app. That means you will design a button and you will keep BTN danger. Then automatically red color comes, but their red is different. Netflix red is different. Your danger red is different. That is already borrowed from those sites actually. So this is called accordion. You can create like that. Let's see how to create an accordion. Suppose to create accordion, there are so many classes now we need to manage. Let's see how to create accordion now. So what is the nature of accordion? So the nature of accordion. So we have another element, accordion. Accordion. So it is a set of elements which can show and hide content, which can show and hide content using mutex mechanism. Mutex mechanism, mutual exclusion. It is mutual exclusion. It's a mutex mechanism, mutual exclusion. So accordion have a lot of classes. So many classes are there in accordion. To understand what are those classes, let's see. Accordion have classes. Accordion header, accordion header, accordion body, and accordion footer, like this. Accordion button. Accordion button is also present. Accordion byte item, accordion collapse. That accordion content is not required these days because currently it's optional. Currently we are using Bootstrap 5. So in 5, some old features are not required to continue. And you can go with the new technique where we don't need accordion content sometimes. You see here. And how it works. It requires another attribute extra. Data BS parent is important. Data BS target will be there. Data BS toggle will be there. They are common, but extra is data BS parent. This is used for defining mutex. To define mutex, you need that. Right. So let's see how it works. So to design accordion, let's say we have a div, and this div is having a class called accordion. Okay. And this accordion is having an ID. You need a reference name. ID is FAQs. Okay. FQs is the ID. Okay. Now in this, let's create a div. This is one accordion item. Accordion item. We have an accordion item. In this accordion item, I want top header. That means I will keep a div class accordion header. Accordion header. In this header, you will have a button. Usually, this button is having what is Netflix. And accordion buttons have a special appearance. We have accordion button style. We can apply that. By default, accordion buttons have a button style. Okay. Next, we are creating another div. This div will have a class collapse. And actually, we will keep it as accordion collapse. And it will have collapse. By default, it is collapse. Accordion collapse. And what is its ID? ID is Q1, question 1. And here we will put some paragraph. So we will put a div. And in the div class, this is accordion body. In the accordion body, we will put some paragraph here. Let's copy the first one paragraph. I will keep one paragraph here. Okay. Now, this is the first accordion item. That is the accordion item we are having. And similarly, you can put any number of paragraphs. I'm just keeping one. Let's create another item. So let's go to the div and put a class accordion item. Accordion item. You have one more accordion item. And in that same we have a button. First we have to define header. Let's copy the same header, body and all this. And in this header have a question called how much does Netflix cost? That is the question. And we have some other answer. This is ID as Q2. It is accordion collapse and collapse. And observe carefully now. So these accordions will display like this. They will display in this way. We are having Netflix. How much does Netflix cost? And see accordion buttons. Right side, they are having some symbol. They have up arrow symbol, down arrow symbols will come. On this button click, I should open the collapse. Huh? So what we will do, so on this button click, so data BS target is hash Q1, data BS toggle is collapse, same I will give for the second button. So data BS target is Q2, question 2, data BS toggle is collapse is the toggle. And see now, it is still not having accordion behavior. Observe carefully, I click the first one, it will open. I click the second one also opens. That means it opens the first and second. That means both are opening. But it should not be like that. It should be mutex, na? It should be mutex mechanism. Right? Then what we do here is we have to keep where is item, every accordion item. This collapse, huh? Yeah, this is collapse. This collapse will use data BS parent. The parent of this collapse is hash the FAQs. That is the ID of accordion ID it should use. And second collapse, this also data BS parent, it is also FAQs. That means both are attached to same accordion. If both collapse are attached to same accordion will allow only one to display. Just like two radios having same name. Then out of those two, only one will be selected. Same data BS parent you are giving for collapse. Now I click Netflix will open. I click on Netflix cost, then it will hide the previous and it will display this. That means it is going to show and hide the content simultaneously like this. That is an accordion style. Appearance your wish, right? So because see, these are buttons and buttons by default have this. I will copy here now. I will copy here and put it here. Okay, this is original style. How you will modify the style? How do we modify the style? Simple. What I will do now, I will go to this button. Instead of accordion button, I will use ordinary button. BTN, dark, W100 like this. And the second button also, instead of accordion button, I will use BTN, dark, W100. And where is that collapse body? So BG dark and text white. So like this, I am giving padding 2. So where is the body? Yeah. So BG dark, text white, and padding to like this. We are customizing it. It's not necessary to use in the same way. Now this time you click what is Netflix, then it will open up, and what is how much Netflix cost, it will display. That means it is going to change the appearance. This time you don't have a traditional accordion appearance. That depends how you want to show your content, right? This is basically accordion. I changed the style of the buttons in this, right? That is the change of the style of buttons here. These are collapse accordion options, right? Two more topics are there that we will see in our next session, right? Because first you need to practice this. Otherwise you can't handle, right? Two more are there. One is nav bar. Another one is drop downs, which are regularly used things. Others you will see in JavaScript, we can implement them. So once we finish, then tomorrow itself, we can start working with JavaScript. We'll start JavaScript from tomorrow once we finish those two concepts. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue then, right? Yeah.